The red and blue glow of a police cruiser cut through the quiet evening in a small neighborhood on the south side of town. 16-year-old Malik Johnson walked home, sweaty from hours of basketball practice. His beat-up sneakers slapped the cracked pavement. A worn basketball rested under his arm, his hoodie damp with sweat. Suddenly, "Hey! Stop right there." The harsh command froze him in place. Officer Bradley Stone stepped out of the cruiser, his flashlight blinding Malik. The man's face twisted into a smirk as he approached. "What do we have here?" Stone said, circling Malik like a predator. "Out this late. Hoodie on, ball in your hand. Looks like trouble to me." Malik raised his free hand nervously. "I'm just walking home from practice, sir." "Practice?" Stone scoffed. "At this hour? Please don't lie to me. Kids like you don't go to practice. Kids like you go to juvie. Or worse." The word stung like a slap. "Sir, I swear." "Quiet." Stone snapped. He jabbed a finger into Malik's chest. "Let me tell you something, boy. You'll never make it. You hear me? Never. You'll end up like the rest, locked up or 6 feet under." The flashlight beam burned in Malik's eyes. His heart pounded, but he stayed still. His mother's voice rang in his head. "Don't talk back. Please don't give them a reason." Neighbors peeked from behind curtains. One man muttered, "Poor kid," before shutting his blinds. Nobody dared step in. Stone leaned closer, sneering. "Dreams? College? The NBA? Forget it. This world doesn't have a place for people like you." Malik's throat tightened. For a moment, he wanted to shout, to fight, to prove the officer wrong. But he swallowed his pride and kept his head down. Stone shoved him lightly. "Move along. And remember my words, you'll never be anything." The cruiser drove off, leaving Malik standing in the dark. Alone, humiliated, he looked down at his basketball, gripping it tighter. A tear slid down his cheek. But behind it burned something stronger than anger. A promise. One day, he would prove Officer Stone wrong. But before I tell you how Malik turned this humiliation into fuel that shocked the world years later, tell me, where are you watching from? Drop your country in the comments, globe show in Europe, Africa. And if you believe no one should ever be judged by their skin color or background, hit like, thumbs up, and subscribe bell so we can keep telling stories of justice. That night at home, Malik barely touched his dinner. His mother, Denise, watched him closely. "Something happened on the way back?" she asked gently. Malik hesitated. Then he whispered, "The police stopped me." He said, "I'll never make it. That I'll end up in prison or dead." Her face hardened. She reached across the table, taking his hand. "Baby, don't let anyone tell you who you are. You hear me? You're destined for more. People like him, they're afraid of your light." Malik's jaw clenched. "Then I'll make sure my light blinds them." Denise smiled sadly. "That's my boy." But deep inside, Malik knew this wasn't the last time he'd face Stone, or the crushing weight of those words. The next week, Stone spotted Malik again while on patrol. This time, Malik was walking home from the library with a backpack full of books. "Back again?" Stone sneered, rolling down his window. "Still chasing those useless dreams?" Malik ignored him and kept walking. Stone chuckled darkly. "Keep at it, kid. The world gonna eat you alive." Malik didn't look back, but each word cut deeper, fueling a determination he couldn't yet explain. Pushpin the setup was clear. A black teen, underestimated and humiliated. A white officer, arrogant and dismissive. A world that watched silently, complicit. Malik's journey was just beginning. Because while Stone believed Malik would fade into nothing, Malik was preparing to rise higher than anyone ever expected. And when destiny brought them face to face again years later, it wouldn't be the same powerless teen standing under that flashlight. Would Malik crumble under the weight of humiliation? Or would he find a way to rise above, turning every insult into fuel for something greater? The words echoed in Malik's head for weeks. You'll never make it, prison or the graveyard. Every time he dribbled the ball on the cracked court near his apartment. Every time he flipped through textbooks at the library. Every time he lay awake at night staring at the ceiling. Those words rang louder. But instead of breaking him, they became fuel. At Jefferson High, Malik wasn't the most popular kid. He was quiet, tall, and lanky, with a seriousness that made him seem older than his years. Some teachers noticed his potential, but most dismissed him. During a parent-teacher night, Malik overheard one teacher whisper to another, "He's smart, but kids like him rarely go far." Statistics don't lie. The word stung, but he swallowed the pain. On the basketball court, Malik pushed himself harder than anyone else. He arrived before dawn, practicing free throws until his arms ached. He stayed after school, running drills long after the others left. One day, his coach pulled him aside. "Son, you got talent," Coach Reynolds admitted. "But scouts, they don't see you. They got their eyes on kids from bigger schools, with bigger names." Malik clenched his jaw. "Then I'll make them see me." Coach sighed, shaking his head. "Keep your grades up. That's your best bet." It wasn't the encouragement Malik wanted, but it was the truth. Malik's mother, Denise, worked double shifts at the diner. Some nights she came home so tired she could barely stand, but she always checked in on Malik. One evening, she found him at the kitchen table, buried in books. Not sports magazines, business textbooks. "What's all this?" she asked, eyebrows raised. Malik looked up, determination burning in his eyes. "If basketball doesn't work, I'll find another way. I'm not ending up like Stone said." Denise's lips trembled with pride. "Baby, that fire in you, that's what's going to carry you." From that night on, Malik split his time. Days on the court, nights at the library, devouring books on coding, finance, and entrepreneurship. But fate wasn't done testing him. One Saturday, after a late practice, Malik walked home alone. The familiar squeal of tires made his stomach drop. It was Officer Stone again. The cruiser slowed, headlights glaring in Malik's face. The window rolled down. Well, Stone drawled. "Still at it? Tell me. Boy, what are you wasting your time on today? Ball or books?" Malik stayed silent, clutching his basketball tighter. Stone smirked. "Doesn't matter. Both are useless to you. You're destined to fail." For the first time, Malik's eyes met Stone's. Calm, unflinching. "Watch me," he said softly. Stone's smirk faltered, but only for a second. Big words for a boy who's going nowhere. He revved the engine and sped off. Malik stood there, heart racing. His knees trembled, but deep inside, something shifted. It wasn't just about proving Stone wrong anymore. It was about proving himself right. By senior year, Malik had clawed his way to the top of his class. He wasn't the star athlete recruiters drooled over, but he was a student teachers whispered about in amazement. "Have you seen his essays?" One teacher asked another. "College level, maybe even beyond." The principal, Mr. Harris, shook his head in disbelief. "That boy, he's going places." On graduation day, Malik stood in line with his classmates, cap balanced on his head. His mother sat in the crowd, tears glistening in her eyes. As he walked across the stage, diploma in hand, Denise whispered to herself, "You'll make it, baby, no matter what they say." But Malik knew this was just the beginning. Malik enrolled at a local community college. No scholarships, no big-name programs. Just a cafeteria job and a janitorial night shift to pay tuition. He mopped floors until midnight, then stayed up until dawn studying. Some nights, exhaustion made his vision blur, but he remembered Stone's sneer. "You'll never make it." Those words became his alarm clock, his motivation, his battle cry. In class, Malik excelled. He asked questions professors hadn't expected from a freshman. He wrote essays so compelling that one professor pulled him aside. "Malik, have you ever thought about tech startups?" That question planted a seed. In his dorm room, Malik began sketching ideas in a worn notebook. Apps to help underprivileged kids study. Programs that could tutor students like him. Kids who didn't have fancy private schools or expensive tutors. He didn't know it then, but those scribbles would one day change his life. One rainy night, after finishing his janitor's shift, Malik walked to the bus stop. His backpack sagged with textbooks and notebooks. A police cruiser rolled up. Of course, it was Stone. The same smug face, though older, the same flashlight beam cutting into Malik's eyes. "You again?" Stone said, voice thick with mockery. "Still pretending you'll be somebody?" Malik stood tall this time, his voice steady. "I don't need to pretend." Stone chuckled, shaking his head. "Kid, life will chew you up. Mark my words, you'll never make it." Malik smiled faintly. "We'll see." The cruiser pulled away. Rain pounded the pavement. But Malik knew something Stone didn't. For the first time in his life, he wasn't afraid. He wasn't broken. He wasn't invisible. He was building something. And one day, the whole world would see it. Would Malik's quiet grind finally pay off? Or would life's obstacles crush him before he had a chance to rise? And when destiny finally brought him back face to face with Officer Stone, who would be the man standing there? The first version of Malik's idea was clunky. Late at night, after mopping floors and finishing homework, he sat at the small desk in his dorm room, laptop open, fingers moving furiously across the keyboard. His roommate slept soundly on the other side of the room, but Malik's mind buzzed with possibility. He was building something, an app that could help kids like him. Kids who didn't have tutors, expensive prep classes, or parents who could afford after-school programs. He called it Rise Up. The app was simple. Practice tests, study guides, motivational videos. But it worked. He tested it with younger kids from his neighborhood, and soon, word began to spread. Malik was still working nights as a janitor, but in between shifts, he started pitching his app to classmates. At first, people laughed. A janitor building an app? Come on. Men, you should focus on getting a real job. But Malik didn't listen. He remembered Officer Stone's voice. "You'll never make it." Every laugh became another push forward. One professor, Dr. Patel, noticed Malik's determination. After class, she pulled him aside. "Malik, what you built is impressive. You should enter it into the city's innovation competition." Malik blinked. "Me? Against all those computer science majors?" Dr. Patel smiled. "Yes, because you have something they don't, a reason. And sometimes, that's stronger than anything else." Weeks later, Malik found himself standing in front of a panel of judges, palms sweating, heart pounding. He wore the same suit his mother had bought him from a thrift store for graduation, neatly pressed. "Good evening," he began. "My name is Malik Johnson. I'm the son of a waitress. I've mopped floors to pay tuition. But tonight, I'm here to show you something I built for kids like me. Kids society forgets." He clicked the remote. Slides flashed across the screen. Statistics about dropout rates. Stories of students who've been written off. "And this," Malik continued, "is Rise Up, an app designed to prove that every kid, no matter where they come from, deserves a chance to succeed." When the presentation ended, the room was silent. Then, slowly, applause grew. One of the judges, a venture capitalist, leaned forward. "Young man, how much fun would it take to scale this?" Malik's hands shook. 50,000. The judge chuckled. "You'll need more than that. I'll give you 500,000. Malik's knees nearly buckled. He walked out of that room a different man. Within 2 years, Rise Up had exploded. Schools across the state were adopting it. National magazines ran headlines. From janitor to innovator, the rise of Malik Johnson. At 25, Malik wasn't just surviving. He was thriving. His company had dozens of employees. His app had reached millions of downloads, and investors lined up to back his vision. But no matter how far he climbed, he never forgot where it started. The night Officer Stone told him he would never make it. It was a crisp fall evening when Malik received an invitation. The annual City Leadership Gala, honoring innovators who shape our future. Malik smiled, showing the invite to his mother. "Can you believe this, Ma? They want me there as a guest of honor." Denise's eyes filled with tears. "Baby, I always knew you'd get here." Always. At the gala, Malik walked into the ballroom, wearing a tailored navy suit. The chandeliers sparkled, cameras flashed, and whispers followed him. That's him, the kid who built Rise Up. He came from nothing, you know. Malik shook hands with CEOs, mayors, and educators. For the first time, he wasn't invisible. But across the room, his eyes froze. Standing in full uniform, chatting with a city councilman, was Officer Bradley Stone. Older now, his hair streaked with gray, but the same arrogant smirk on his face. Malik's breath caught. Memories rushed back. The flashlight in his eyes, the finger in his chest, the words that haunted him for years. You'll never make it. For a moment, Malik considered walking away, pretending not to see him. But something in his chest told him this was a moment. Stone spotted Malik, his eyes narrowing in confusion. He recognized the face, but couldn't place it yet. The announcer's voice cut through the room. Tonight, we honor Malik Johnson, founder of Rise Up, for transforming education for thousands of underprivileged children. Applause thundered. Cameras turned. Malik stepped forward. Stone's jaw dropped. His smirk faded. Malik stood on the stage, looking directly at the man who once told him he'd be nothing. Years ago, Malik began, voice steady, someone told me I would never make it, that I would end up in prison, or worse, that my dreams meant nothing. The audience murmured, shocked, but those words became my fuel. And tonight, I stand before you not as a statistic, but as proof that no one has a right to define your future. The applause was deafening. Stone's face went pale. Sweat trickled down his temple. Malik paused, his gaze sweeping the room. Respect costs nothing, but disrespect can change someone forever. Sometimes, the very thing meant to break you becomes a fire that makes you unstoppable. The crowd rose to its feet. Stone sank into his chair, humiliated. Malik had reclaimed his dignity. But the night wasn't over. Because after the speech, Officer Stone would confront him privately, still clinging to his pride. And Malik would have a choice: offer forgiveness, or deliver the truth that would shatter Stone's world once and for all. The ballroom buzzed with applause long after Malik left the stage. Reporters rushed forward, flashing cameras, shoving microphones near his face. Mr. Johnson, how did you do it? Who inspired you to build Rise Up? What's next for your company? Malik answered graciously, shaking hands, smiling and thanking supporters. Yet, in the back of his mind, he knew what was coming. From across the room, Officer Bradley Stone hadn't stopped staring. His face was pale, his posture stiff. The proud, arrogant cop looked like he had just seen a ghost. And in a way, he had. Later that evening, as the crowd shifted toward the dance floor, Malik slipped away to the balcony for some fresh air. The city skyline glimmered in the distance. He gripped the railing, exhaling slowly. That speech, it wasn't just a crowd. It was for him, for Stone. Footsteps echoed behind him. Malik turned. There he was, Officer Bradley Stone. No smirk this time. His eyes were searching, conflicted. For a long moment, neither spoke. The night air was heavy with unspoken history. Finally, Stone cleared his throat. You're that kid. Malik's expression didn't flinch. I am. The one with the basketball. Stone muttered. On Jefferson Street. Years ago. Malik nodded. The one you told would never make it. Stone's jaw tightened. Listen, Don't. Malik interrupted, his voice firm but calm. Don't try to explain it away. You looked me in the eyes and told me I'd never be anything. You tried to break me before I even had a chance to start. Stone shifted uncomfortably. I was doing my job. You have to understand, I saw kids like you every day. Kids who ended up in jail on drugs or worse. I thought I was being realistic. Malik's stare was unyielding. No, you weren't being realistic. You were being arrogant. You decided who I was without knowing me. And you wanted me to believe your version of my future. Stone opened his mouth, then shut it. The truth of Malik's words hung heavy between them. For the first time, Malik saw something in Stone's eyes he had never seen before. Not smugness, not superiority. Shame. I remember that night, Stone said quietly. You looked at me like you hated me, but you never talked back. Most kids would have cursed me out. You didn't. Malik's voice softened, though it carried steel. That wasn't hate. That was survival. Because I knew if I said the wrong word, you could have ruined my life right there. And nobody would have stopped you. Stone's shoulders sagged. The weight of years pressed down on him. You told me I'd never make it, Malik continued, his voice rising. But those words, they became my fire. Every night I stayed up coding. Every morning I dragged myself through exhaustion. I heard your voice, telling me I was nothing, and I swore I'd prove you wrong. Stone swallowed hard. His hands fidgeted at his sides. And you did. Yes, Malik said firmly. I did, but not for you. For me. For every kid you dismissed. For every child you crushed with your words. Stone tried to recover, straightening his uniform. Look, I was wrong about you, but you can't hold on to this forever. People change. Malik tilted his head. Do they? Or do they just try to bury what they've done when it finally catches up to them? Stone's face reddened. Are you trying to humiliate me? Malik stepped closer, eyes locked on him. No, officer. I don't need to humiliate you. You did that yourself. The moment the boy you said would be nothing stood on a stage you'll never reach. The words cut sharper than any blade. Stone flinched. Unbeknownst to them, a few guests had stepped onto the balcony, catching the tension. Phones discreetly lifted. Cameras recorded. Stone noticed and his eyes widened in panic. Turn those off, he barked. Malik raised a hand calmly. Let them film. Let them see what respect and disrespect really look like. The guests froze, captivated. Malik had turned the very stage of humiliation into his platform. For a long silence, Malik simply looked at Stone, the man who once held power over his life. Finally, Malik spoke, his voice calm, resolute. I don't hate you. I don't even think about you most days. But tonight, I need you to understand something. You tried to define my life, and you failed, because no one gets to write my story but me. Stone's lips trembled. He had no defense, no arrogance left. For the first time, the balance of power had shifted. Malik turned to leave the balcony, applause and whispers following him inside. Stone stood frozen in the night air, humiliated not just privately, but publicly, with cameras capturing his downfall. But would Stone take responsibility for his past? Or lash out, desperate to reclaim the control he once had? The final reckoning was about to come. The night air on the balcony was heavy with silence. Malik turned, walking back toward the ballroom. His words still hung between them like a verdict. No one gets to write my story but me. Behind him, Officer Bradley Stone stood frozen, sweat forming on his brow as guests whispered, and phones continued to record. By the time Malik re-entered the ballroom, chatter rippled across the crowd. People had seen the confrontation. Some had filmed it, posting clips to social media with captions like, "This is what justice looks like. Arrogant cop humbled by the man he once tried to break. Respect costs nothing. But look what happens when you deny it." Within minutes, the videos gained traction online. Malik's speech was already trending. Stone, meanwhile, stumbled back inside, his face pale, his once proud shoulders slumped. The uniform that had given him authority for decades now felt like a weight dragging him under. The police chief, who had been in attendance, pulled Stone aside. Guests caught fragments of the tense exchange. "Is it true? You told him that?" Stone's voice cracked. "It was years ago, I didn't mean..." "Doesn't matter. The world's watching now. You've embarrassed this department." Stone tried protest, but his words only dug him deeper. Colleagues avoided eye contact. The humiliation he had once dished out so easily now returned to him 100-fold. Meanwhile, Malik took the microphone once more, urged by the event organizer. The crowd hushed instantly. He spoke not of apps or business this time, but of humanity. "Years ago, I was told I would never make it, that my dreams were worthless, that my future was already written. But tonight, I stand here as proof that no one has a right to decide who you will become." Applause thundered, many on their feet. Cameras flashed. Malik continued, his voice steady but emotional. "Respect costs nothing. A word of encouragement can change a life, but so can a word of doubt. So I ask you all, choose your words wisely, because the kid you dismiss today may be the leader you answer to tomorrow." The ballroom erupted in cheers. The sound was deafening. Back at the police precinct, the fallout was swift. The viral video spread across platforms, sparking outrage. Community leaders demanded accountability. Parents wrote open letters, sharing how Malik's story mirrored countless others. Stone's name trended, but not with respect. Headlines screamed, "Officer who humiliated teen now exposed by success." Cop tells boy he'll never make it. Internet reacts after stunning comeback. Within days, Stone was placed on leave. Soon after, he quietly retired in disgrace. The same man who once carried himself with unshakable pride now slipped into anonymity, a cautionary tale of arrogance. Malik, however, only rose higher. He expanded Rise Up internationally, ensuring children across the world could access the tools he once lacked. He launched scholarships in his mother's name, the Denise Johnson Foundation, supporting kids from underprivileged backgrounds who had been told they'd never make it. And when news outlets asked him about Stone, Malik's answer was always the same. "I don't hate him. I thank him, because his words lit the fire that carried me here." At a televised interview months later, Malik summed it up perfectly. Respect costs nothing, but arrogance can cost you everything. Never underestimate someone because of how they look, where they come from, or what they have. Because sometimes the invisible ones see what no one else does, and they rise higher than anyone ever imagined. His words went viral, quoted in classrooms, offices, and community centers around the globe. One afternoon, Malik returned to his old neighborhood. Kids were dribbling basketballs on the same cracked court he once practiced on. When they saw him, they ran over, eyes wide. "Mr. Johnson, you're him. You're the guy from the videos." Malik knelt down, smiling warmly. "No, I'm just Malik, a kid who grew up right here, just like you." The children stared, hanging on his words. "Listen to me," he said softly. "Don't let anyone tell you who you can or can't be. Your story is yours to write. Don't give that pen to anybody else." Their eyes shone with hope. For them, Malik wasn't just a CEO. He was living proof that dreams, even from the humblest places, could come true. And so, the narrator's voice concludes, the officer who once thought he had the power to define a boy's future was proven wrong. Because Malik Johnson didn't just make it, he rose higher than anyone ever expected. Backhand index pointing right, remember. Respect costs nothing, but disrespect can cost everything. Backhand index pointing right never underestimate someone because of their skin, their class, or their age. Because one day, the person you look down on may rise higher than you could ever imagine. What would you have done if you were in Malik's shoes that night? Would you have stayed silent or spoken back? Comment your thoughts below backhand index pointing down. And don't forget to subscribe for more powerful stories of justice, respect, and redemption.